Welcome to True Crime with Strategic Eyes.
Strategic back again. Man, I'm so happy to be here. I hope you guys had a great weekend. I had actually an extended weekend because I took Tuesday off. So I was off Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Nice 3 days to recharge, guys. I was feeling stressed out, overwhelmed because work was so crazy. But I needed that time to retool. And guess what? The good Lord has delivered. Guys, remember I had a Stephan Sterns video live show that was scheduled that I kept pushing back. And the reason why I kept pushing that live stream back is because I told you guys, I just didn't feel like we had that there that made the show worthy of covering. Because guess what? We only cover probative things. We don't just cover things for clicks and views. That's not why we're here. We're here to give a voice to the voiceless. Well, guess what? Good things come to those who wait. And for those of you who were patient enough to wait, we got a bombshell show for you today. That's right. Not only do we have these photos, the 711 photos, we're not going to go through all of them. I picked like 20 of them that I want to go through that we've seen on Plunder and Docket and all these other channels that are releasing it. And God bless the hard work that those people do to get us that material through the FOIA requests. But I've got something nobody's talking about. I'm not breaking news. This is news that literally was in the news, but I haven't heard any YouTubers talking about this. And if they are, then God bless them. Listen, it's not a competition. We all report on what we report on. We talk about what we feel passionate about talking about. But I haven't heard this anywhere. And we're going to talk about this today because Stephan Sterns changes his story and gets caught in a lie that's literally, quite literally, going to ensure that he gets to meet old Sparky, ladies and gentlemen. That's where Stephan Sterns needs to go. We need to introduce Stephan Sterns to old Sparky, ladies and gentlemen. So we're going to go through this and we're going to try and be good. We're going to use YouTube speak. We're going to not give the YouTube gods a reason to demonetize yet another show of True Crime with Strategic. We're on a new leaf, okay? We're being good. We're behaving ourselves. Some of you guys might be a little bit mad about that, but we still have to behave ourselves because guess what? YouTube is punishing us big time, okay? So we got to be mature and we got to understand that when in Rome, sometimes you gotta be like the Romans. That being said, I want to give big shout out to everybody who's joining me today. You guys are great. Aki's in the building. Aki's so dedicated. Right now, she's at a doctor's appointment. She's still in the chat, moderating, showing love in between the doctor taking her temperature. So we got big love for Aki. Thank you so much. For all the other mods that's in the building, we appreciate you guys immensely. For all the members who are joining us today, you guys are awesome. You guys are great. What we're doing right now, we're just basically talking out the first 5 minutes. For those who are like, let's get into it, Strategic, we have to give it the first 5 minutes because that's when the moderation starts lessening up with YouTube. Now, for the YouTube gods and the YouTube warriors out there that love to come on my channel and just eviscerate me, I have to say that everything we talk today is not going to be for entertainment. Let me take a sip of this real quick. That's right. This is not for entertainment. This is for educational purposes. I'm going to be using my life's worth of experience, guys. We're talking about almost 20 years of experience. I'm in my 18 and a half year of law enforcement, and out of that 18 and a half, around 14 of those years was in sex crimes investigations. Not only that, I have a bachelor's degree in social work and criminal justice. I am a certified crime scene technician, certified read investigator, latent prints examiner number 1, level 1 in New York State. Man, I got all types of certifications, all types of experience. And lastly, I'm an active duty sex crimes detective for a very busy and some would say prestigious law enforcement outfit. It is what it is, okay? So I have a lot of experience. I do this every day. Today, I go back to work. I'm working the night shifts today. So when I'm done with this live, I'm going to put a suit on. I'm going to put a tie on. I'm going to put my badge on my gun. And I'm going to go out there and utilize the same mindset, the same experience that I have and I exhibit to you guys on the show sometimes. And I'm going to use that in the real world to help get bad guys and bring justice to victims. So I'm not telling this to you guys. I'm telling this to YouTube, okay? We're here, and we're going to be talking about some tough topics, but we're talking about it in a respectful way in order for us to understand an active investigation and prosecution that's occurring in Florida. All right, what time is it? Are we looking good on time? Yeah, we're at 5 minutes and 24 seconds. All right, so guys, we're going to start off with the Stephan Sterns statements. These are new statements that's been coming out. I don't have the full statement. I just got just enough of what you need so you can see the discrepancies in what he said before and what he said later that's going to make sure that he gets to meet old Sparky, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Let's see what we got here. Let's set it all up and get it rocking and rolling. Give me a second. Let me move my camera over. I'm going to do the back end stuff while you guys are looking at me look silly. I feel good, man. I've been so tired. So being rested, when I'm rested and I'm happy, I'm silly. I'm a naturally silly guy. So when I'm rested, I'm silly. So Aki, we'll also do a call-in show at the end. We're going to enjoy this call-in show thing. I think we found a suitable replacement for Skype, but Skype will be going out of business come May, which means we have to find a different program to allow people to call in. So we're going to be enjoying call-in shows until May comes and we get a replacement. We know Skype works. We don't know if these other technologies will work as good as Skype works, right? So we'll do a call-in show at the end. I started the live extra early. This is earlier than we usually start, simply so that we can end early, but you still have the same length of show. I want to end early because there's some things I want to do. I need to go get that real ID that everybody needs to get now by May. Otherwise, you won't be able to travel on the planes and all that good stuff, whatever. So, Aki, do me a favor. If somebody puts something interesting in the chat, please highlight it so I can see it, because I'm not going to be going back and forth to the chat as I usually do, because I'm going to be busy kind of doing these other things. All right, so let me get this set up and let's rock and roll. All right, so first I want to play you guys a snippet of what Stephan Sterns originally said when he was interviewed by the police. This is an hour and 27-minute interview. We're only going to do 5 minutes of it max, okay? Don't worry about it. We're not here for an hour, 27 minutes just to rehash things that we've done before that you guys have heard before. But I want you to get the context, right? Last thing, I know I stop a lot. People get annoyed with me, whatever. It's a live show. We're not Brian Gumble. We're a YouTuber. I'm a stupid cop, basically, with a mic, okay? Come on. You can cut me some slack. Please hit that like button, okay? Hit that like button. Support the channel. We need that help so we can get into the algorithm. We're not doing it for our ego purposes. The only way for us to get into the algorithm for our show to be seen by a wider audience is if you hit the like button. If you don't hit the like button, YouTube is only showing this to people who actively subscribe to my channel. And my light just went off, so give me a second so I can get everything back up to specs. Perfect. All right, let's get started.
Does she typically hang out with her friends only at school, or does she have any in the neighborhood here?
She doesn't have any in the neighborhood here, but she does have friends from school that she gets together with on weekends and whatnot.
Okay. So after you dropped her off sometime between 8:25, 8:40 area, do you remember?
I left my phone at home, so I wasn't sure what the...
Gotcha. That's fine. Do you remember what you did after? Or?
Yeah, after I left her, I was watching her in the rearview mirror. I was just driving away, and she looked like she was making her way towards the school like normal, so I went on with my day. I went over to the vape shop nearby. They were not open yet.
All right, this is important. I'm going to go back. I have to point this out for you because it might go over your head because you've heard this before and you don't know the discrepancy that I have. Well, actually, I didn't discover it. A viewer sent it to me. Send it to me via email. So that's why I tell you guys, please send me stuff via email. I may not respond to everything because I'm busy, but I'm reading it. And whatever I need, I use. And if I don't need it, I just keep it moving. That's the way it goes when you have hundreds of people sending you emails. So please do send it to me. You don't know when you might send me something that's totally a bombshell, a news article that nobody else seems to have noticed that really rocks the socks off of Stephan Sterns' whole story. So this is important because this is the point where we're going to find out his big lie. I'm going to go back.
So I came back home.
Sometime between 8:25, 8:40 area. Do you
I had left
remember?
my phone at home, so I wasn't sure what the...
Gotcha. That's fine. Do you remember what you did after? Or?
Yeah, after I left her, I was watching her in the rearview mirror. I was just driving away. She looked like she was making her way towards the school like normal, so I went on with my day. I went over to the vape shop nearby. They were not open yet, so I came back home, hung out for a little while with Jen.
Said he went over to the vape shop, but they wasn't open yet. Let's keep going so we can get some further context, and then we're going to go to the counter argument or the adjustment that he made, the convenient adjustment that he made in his statement.
And then after about an hour, I went to check the vape shop again, and they were open, so I took care of my stuff.
He went back to the vape shop again, and then about an hour or something like that, and they were open, and then he took care of his stuff and he left. I want to go back one more time.
It became after I left her, I was watching her in the rearview mirror. I was just driving away. She looked like she was making her way towards the school like normal, so I went on with my day. I went over to the vape shop nearby. They were not open yet, so I came back home, hung out for a little while with Jen, and then after about an hour, I went to check the vape shop again, and they were open, so I took care of my stuff there, and it became a normal day.
Okay. So, just to go through I asked Jennifer the same questions, just to go through everyone's days, but just to go through yours. So you dropped her off at school, and you said you went to the vape shop?
Correct.
They weren't open?
Correct.
Do you remember about what time you got home?
I got home around maybe 10:15.
Gotcha. And was she...
Mind you, remember, he said he left his phone, and that's this first volley of going to the vape shop. He didn't have his phone at that time. But let's keep going. And the detective is doing a good job summarizing what he said, because it locks you in. When you make a statement, and then the detective reiterates that statement to you, and you agree, you just locked yourself into that statement. Because we all misspeak. Man, when I'm on this channel, I misspeak all the time. Sometimes I say words I don't even want to say. Like, it's crazy. I'm like, oh, yeah, I went to the store and I had burger. Why did I say burger? I had a hot dog. You know, people do that all the time, especially when people are under stress. So the point of the detective reiterating what you're saying is to give you an opportunity to make a correction and say, you know what? Maybe I didn't go at that time. Maybe I went at this time instead. So when you say, yup, that's what I said, you just locked yourself in and said, everything I said was factual. So let's keep going.
Was Jennifer here?
Yeah, Jen was here. She had been sleeping in. Her new work schedule has had her kind of messed up, so she was trying to sleep in as much as possible.
Gotcha. So when you got back around 10...
she was just
waking up.
Yeah. So we hung out for a little while, chit-chatted. Then I went and checked the vape shop again, got my stuff, came home again, hung out for a little while. We talked about maybe, doing some BJ shopping or something after we picked up. And then she wanted to take a nap again. I had a couple errands I needed to run, so that worked out fine.
Sorry.
I wanted to check out a couple of the card game shops in the area.
Oh, okay.
One of my trading card games just had
I'm going to stop it soon. I just want you to get a little more context on his day. Let him finish his day, and then we'll go into what we're here to definitely hear. And just to let you guys know, this recording has always been of bad quality. So I see some people in the chat saying, hey, listen, I can't really understand what he's saying. That's just the way it is. Like, it's just a bad quality. They made this recording, I think, in secret or something like that. Or if they didn't, I don't know. They were outside. We were all complaining about this when we first heard it. A lot of these recordings were made in less than ideal places, but there's nothing we could do about it. There's no adjustments that we can make.
new release. I just wanted to look at stuff. Ended up getting a flat tire.
Okay.
We know why he got that flat tire.
He's on a hoop
Where'd you
now.
get a flower? Where'd you get a flat tire?
192. That was hair raising.
And that was when you were out shopping during the day?
Yeah. That was between the hours of noon and like 2.
Okay. Got it. And then so
Because we
after...
needed to leave by 2:30 to go get get in line and get ready to pick up.
Got it. So you guys went and picked her up together?
That was the goal. Yes, I was going to go with them, but I ended up getting a flat tire, so she left.
You couldn't.
Yeah, I got back literally 10 minutes after she left, apparently.
Got it. And so, forgive me, I missed something. I kind of missed it in the middle of there, but you got back home around 10. You hung out with Jen, and then y'all just kind of hung out, and then did you separate to go shopping, or?
She took a nap, and then I went and ran my errands.
All right. So we'll stop it there. He's got a lot of errands. I mean, he's errands all over the place, right? Let me go ahead and set up that next slide for you guys, or exhibit. We'll use court terms. We'll set up the next exhibit. All right. Big shout out to the subscriber who sent me this information. This was not the research crew. Research crew sent me a lot of other stuff. I mean, we have the Maddie photo that she drew. It broke my heart. It's just an example. Actually, give me a second. I have to take this phone call. Perfect. Thank you for your patience, guys. For people who are on the Patreon, we had a big water issue down, requiring plumbers to change out tons of old galvanized steel pipes that have corroded. Galvanized steel corrodes inside the pipe. So one of them I cut open. I put a picture on the Patreon. Only this amount of water was going through. Only that amount. A pipe this big, only this amount of water was getting through. It was crazy. So that was my plumber letting me know he's going. All right, back to business. Let's set this up, get you guys in here. Big shout out to the person who sent this to me. You are amazing. Thank you so much, because this was huge to me. This is huge to me, because as a law enforcement officer, as somebody who deals with the courts on a daily basis, it's those small details that make and break cases sometimes. Those small details. And this is one of those details that is huge, even though in the grand scheme of things, you probably say to yourself, oh, but there's so much more evidence. Like, this is nothing. Look at all the pictures that they have of the CS and all that stuff. We're trying to use different terms. And, this is huge, because this is one of the first statements that Stephan Sterns made throughout this entire ordeal. Him describing how he interacted with Maddie that morning, how he took her to school, where he dropped her off, how he watched her go towards school, and then how the things he did afterwards that were his pseudo alibis. It says, well, I had nothing to do with anything untoward against this person because I was in these locations doing these specific things. And this statement that he gives, where he contradicts himself and he totally changes his story, is what's going to seal his fate in the unaliving case. The unaliving case, which, to be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, is the most important case. As horrible as the abuse was, nothing trumps taking the life of another. The most important case that this man is going to face is the unaliving case. And this is the evidence that's going to seal his fate. New details released in the ending of MS, 1 year since the initial report. Oh, it's all coming out, ladies and gentlemen. It's all coming out. You know what? I haven't even played this. Let me play this and see what it says. But we do have the transcribed interview below this video, but maybe he'll just read it out to us. So let's see.
Also breaking at this hour, new documents released today in the Maddie Soto murder case. Canines reportedly found hints of a decomposing body in the suspect's car. Fox35's Marie Edinger is live in studio with that story tonight. So, Marie, what else did you find in those newest documents?
John, the date of the initial report is exactly 1 year ago today. And after exactly a year, we are still learning new details about this case. Madeline Soto's mother reported the girl missing after she didn't come home from school. Stephan Sterns, the boyfriend of Maddie's mom, told police he dropped Maddie off at school that day. He says afterward he went to a vape shop. Here's the story we've heard Sterns tell before.
After you dropped her off, did you go directly to the smoke shop?
I did. I went directly to the smoke shop.
But in an interview newly released to Fox35, he changes his story, saying Maddie was asleep in the car when he stopped the vape shop.
How was she positioned in the front seat?
Leaned back in the seat, just kind of conked out, napping.
Where was her head in relation to the seat?
Against the seat, I think. Against it.
Was the seat leaning back, or
The seat was leaning back. Yeah, she had leaned the seat back so that she could recline and...
The Orange County Sheriff's Office had found surveillance video they believed showed Maddie the morning she was reported missing, sitting in the front seat of Stern's car, slumped over to her left. Quote, an abnormal way for a person to be seated, the report says. Fox 35 just learned from newly released documents a canine search of that vehicle alerted to chemicals in the front seat found specifically when human bodies are decomposing. We also learned more about the search for Maddie's body. I'll talk more about that tonight at 6.
All right, so I thought they were going to talk about the actual interview, but this was actually pretty probative. It was not a waste of time. So now let's go to it. I'm going to skip down here because it's going to give the backstory and all that stuff. I'm not going to waste your time with that. You guys know I hate when people draw things out. I like to be clear and concise and to the point, to the best of my abilities, as much as my personality will allow me to be. All right, so Stern's story changes. What we know, Stephan Sterns told police he had dropped Maddie off at school the morning she disappeared and then went to a smoke shop. Officer, now we're going to the interview transcribe. Officer, after you dropped her off, did you go directly to the smoke shop? Sterns, I did. I went directly to the smoke shop. However, in a new interview released to Fox 35, he changes his story. New details. Now let's jump to it. I love how they laid this out, man. Clear and concise, to the point. I love it. New details. In this newly released interview, Sterns tells police that Maddie was asleep in the passenger seat of the car when he went into the vape shop. He changed his story. In this version of his story, he said Maddie went with him to the vape shop. Now, I don't know about you guys, and this, you guys may have heard this before, because I'm just one person. I can't follow everything here on this case. I try to. I want to be as accurate and as up-to-date as possible. But at the end of the day, I do have a day job. I do have a career. I do have a family. I have things that I have to do. I have places in my brain that I have to fit other knowledge. I've never heard this before. Have you guys heard this before? I've never heard Stephan Sterns say that Maddie went to the vape shop with him. I want to take a quick poll and then we're going to continue. I got to get your input. You guys got to get involved with this. Start a poll. Did you hear that? Let's see what the poll says. I never heard that. This directly contradicts what he stated multiple times to police, that he dropped her off at the church parking lot, watched her walk away, saw her digging in her bag and all that stuff, and that's the last time that he saw Maddie. I've never heard him say that she went to the vape shop with him. Let's keep going. Officer, how was she positioned in the front seat? Sterns, leaned back in the seat, just kind of conked out, napping. Officer, where was her head in relation to the seat? Sterns, up against the seat, I think against it. Officer, this was the seat, leaning back or seat? Oh, this was, well, that's what he said. It doesn't make any sense, but he's probably giving it a visual example. That's why it's transcribed the way it is, because he's actually showing Stephan what he's trying to explain to him or ask him. So the officer says, this was the seat, leaning back or seat? Sterns was leaning back and she leaned the seat back so that she could recline. Wow. Huge to me. Huge to me. Stephan Sterns said that he took Maddie with him to the vape shop. Now we need to get our hands on this interview to find out what date this interview was done. Because if this interview was done during the time that they were still looking for him, when he was not in custody, this is what made the police say, game over, he's our suspect. Aside from everything else, this had to be an interview that was done before they found the photos and the videos on his phone. Because once they found the photos and the videos on his phone, it's game over. He has to get arrested. He's going into custody. You need to read a Miranda. He has to get an attorney if he asks for one. End of story. I think the next interview that they did with Stephan, or the last interview they did with Stephan, was the one where they were inside of that interrogation room, because after that, he invoked his right to counsel. I want to know where this interview that they just received that has not been released to anybody, supposedly, until now, I want to know at what point did this interview occur. I'm going to go to that poll real quick. We got 150 people who have voted so far. It's going up too. And 95% said no, they've never heard this before. And 5% says yes. So that 5%, why are you not talking to me? I need you in my inbox, because obviously that 5% consists of the folks that work in Osceola County District Attorney's Office, Kissimmee PD, Orange County Sheriff, Osceola County Sheriffs. These are insiders. So I need you guys in my inbox, because I need to know what's going on with this case. Because you know stuff that the rest of us don't know, and you have privy to information that has not been released to the public yet. Please do email strategiceyes with a Z at gmail.com. I don't know why I put a Z on the end instead of an S, but please do email strategiceyes with a Z. Aki will put the email inside of the chat at gmail.com. I need to hear from you, because you've got information nobody else has, man. You are certainly in a very elite club of having information. But wow, this is crazy. This is insane. That's going to be the nail in the coffin for this man's prosecution, because it's a clear and blatant lie. It contradicts everything he said about dropping Maddie off at the school, because he could not have dropped her off at the school and still go to the vape shop for 10 o'clock. It's not possible. You caught yourself in a massive lie, Stephan. Massive lie. Let me bring the camera back to me, because I want to set up the next shot. We will transition into the photos that were released. There's 711 photos. I want to get my hands on those photos. I want to see about putting in my own FOIA requests. So if anybody has any expertise in that, I know a few people have reached out to me who actually work in FOIA departments. I'm going to reach out to some of them, because I think they're in Florida and they probably have like the same processes on how to do it. Because I want to have the information for myself for me to decide what I should release and what I shouldn't release. I see that a lot of these major YouTubers are doing an amazing job by not releasing sensitive things that they feel would be disrespectful to the victim. And I'm totally on board, and I totally respect and understand that. But at the same time, I feel like I should be able to make that decision for myself. And the only way I can do that is if I put my own skin in the game and start getting this material for myself. I can't afford the money that these folks are paying for video and stuff like that. That's the most costliest stuff. The costliest stuff is video. But we should be able to try and to be able to afford documents and photos. So I want to see if I could contact them directly so I can get that stuff for myself, and I be able to decide what I feel like I should put out and what I should not. That's just my personal feelings. That's how I function as a man and as an adult. I'm a very big free speech person, but I do understand where these YouTubers are coming from, and I got a big shout out to them, and they got great hearts and all that good stuff. So the stuff that we're gonna be looking at, I got that off of Plunder's Patreon. Just I think 20 or so photos that I thought was very probative that I really wanted to go through. Plunder's Patreon is a gold mine, especially for the Madeline Soto case, but just for true crime in general. She has a lot of body-worn camera, a lot of photos, a lot of court documents that you could go on there, and if you're a Patreon, you could purchase it or you could get it for free. So consider becoming a member of her Patreon. I'm not getting a cut. I'm not a part of her team. I'm just telling you because I'm a true crime aficionado where you should go to get information that you might find probative as well. You can also come to my Patreon, of course. My Patreon is popping. My Patreon, as we say in Harlem, my Patreon is hot, as they say in Miami. My Patreon is cool, as they say in Oklahoma. Okay? We got a word for wherever you at. Okay? My Patreon is awesome. You get this kind of commentary unfiltered on the Patreon. You get a whole bunch of other stuff. You get personal stuff about me sharing personal things on the Patreon, especially my journey of prepping, my journey of starting to collect some of my guns and stuff like that. All that stuff is on the Patreon and more. So consider becoming a member or a Patreon on the Patreon, okay? And lastly, we do have our membership. Consider becoming a member of True Crime with Strategic. So let me go ahead and get that set up so we can go ahead and rock and roll. Perfect. So this one I felt was very probative because this was very interesting to me, ladies and gentlemen. It's very interesting to me. This was interesting to me because Jen Soto went through great pains to try and convince us that she's an awesome mother. And listen, I'm very hard on Jen Soto. I know this to be true. You know what? Thanks a lot for this poll. Before I get started, 238 people respond. That's a lot of people. 95% says no, they've never heard the information we just covered. 5% said that they have. So for those of you who haven't heard, I hope that you share this video so it gets out there so more people are aware of this information that just come out. We'll make sure that we put the link to that article into the description section so you can read it on your own. I'm gonna end that poll. I want to start another poll before I get started on this next segment about these pictures, because this is important to me. I like hearing your feedback, positive and negative. I like your feedback as long as it's respectful, of course. All right. So this is the next poll. That's the next poll up there. Jen Soto went through great lengths to try and tell us that she was the mother of the year. To try and push all blame of what happened to Maddie away from her. To basically say, you know, I had no idea this was happening. I did the best I could as a mother. Woe is me. I'm just as much as a victim as my daughter. She never said that, but that's what I got from it. That's not her words. That's me saying what I feel she was trying to do in her many explanations. And I don't want to be hard on Jen in an unfair way. But as we discussed so many times on this channel, we don't play, you got to understand my personality when you come on my channel because you don't know me. And I'm unlike any other YouTuber that you've ever seen before, just like any other YouTuber is unlike any other YouTuber, okay? Like, we're all unique. We're all different. We all approach these cases in our own way. I don't see no similarities between Plunder and Grizzly or the Docket or any of these other people. They're all different. They all have their own style, their own voice, their own tone, their own energy levels, their own levels to detail. None of us are the same. So what you need to know about me is that I am animated and I'm passionate, but I'm not governed by emotions. There's a difference between being passionate and somebody who is unwilling to accept facts because they feel a certain way. I've been trained out of that decades ago. I don't allow emotions to guide the way I look at things and the way that I process information and truth. So when I talk about Jen Soto, Sometimes I may talk like I'm animated. I may get angry. I might raise my voice. People, why are you always yelling strategic? That's what I do. I don't yell at my kids. I don't even discipline them half the time. I love them so much. I'm such a pushover. So I got to yell at somebody, so I might as well yell at you guys. And I can't yell at the perps because then they'll sue me. You know the kind of world we live in. The bad guys are the good guys now. You got to be very nice to the pedos and all those folks. So you can't yell at them. So I got to yell at you guys. So even though I'm showing all this emotion, it doesn't mean that I'm just being guided by my emotion. And I say that to make the point that the reason why I feel the way I feel about Jen Soto is not because of my feelings, but because of what Jen Soto has told me. Jen Soto, Stephan Sterns, Madeline Soto, they have all spoken to us through these interviews, through this investigation. They've all sat inside of our living room rooms. They've all sat inside of our devices and spoken to us. We've heard their voices. We heard them in their intimate spaces, their homes, their bedrooms, their cars, street corners. We've heard them in police stations. We've heard them tell us their story multiple times with multiple variations. And from them telling us their story, we are now able to come to conclusions about the choices that they have made. So when Jen Soto tells me that if it's a school night, I allow Maddie to sleep in bedroom number 4 with Stephan Sterns 5 days out of the week. That's out of her mouth. What am I supposed to think as a father, as an investigator, as a human being, that you're allowing your daughter to sleep in the bed, in a full-size bed, not a queen-size bed, not a king-size bed, or any bed for that matter? It should be no bed, but a full-size bed with a grown man that's supposed to be your lover. And if it's 5 days out of the week, you allow her to sleep with him because you need your sleep. Big shout out to Pink Panda with a $20 super chat. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. But I'm being too mean when I call that out. When you talk to us, you talk to Strategic, you talk to Panda, you talk to Nightbot, a.k.a. Sassy Bot, you talk to New York City Boomer, Mary Lindsay, Susan Furgic, who just got her comment moderated. We'll show it. It's okay. I just approved it, Susan. You're good to go. When you tell us that you had a conversation with your live-in boyfriend, that your greatest fear, you had this conversation multiple times. She said that on the couch. We heard it. She spoke to us. She's in an interview with police. She's talking to the people right now. Everything she says is public information. It's not confidential. When she told us that she had a conversation multiple times with Stephan Sterns, that her greatest fear was the Woody Allen effect. That her daughter would grow up and run away and engage in an ex-relationship with her boyfriend, Stephan Sterns. What do you want me to think? Because any reasonable parent would say, if I had that feeling about my daughter and my boyfriend, somebody got to go. And it ain't going to be my daughter. It's got to be him because something is wrong. We're human beings. We don't muddy the waters between father or father figure and lover. There's a big distinction. And daughters don't cross that line. Stepdaughters don't cross that line. Adults cross those lines. Not Madeline Soto. Big shout out to David with a $20 super chat. Says, I almost missed the morning sermon, man. I appreciate you, bro. Well, we're preaching today. So I hope y'all ready. We appreciate the donations too, just like church. Big shout out to Tori with 5 free gift memberships to the lucky people. Please thank Tori. Very, very, very generous of her for doing that. So when you tell us that us folk of sound, reasonable minds, we're going to say to ourselves, that's wrong. We got to fix that. We would fix that. We wouldn't just say, hey, please don't run off with my daughter when you get older, like Woody Allen did with Soon Lee. Don't do that, please. I'm trusting you, even though my mother raised me not to trust men. That's what Jen Soto said. I'm trusting you not to run off with my daughter. What kind of conversation is that to have? Unless you maybe knew something was wrong. Big shout out to Ayin Schaefer with a $24.99 super chat. Thank you so much. And that's Canadian dollars. Appreciate you. So that's why I feel the way about Jen Soto, because Jen Soto spoke to me. When Stephan Sterns, who was verifiably the last person to see Madeline Soto, was telling his story, and he was saying, oh, she had this clothing on, she had that clothing on, and this is the last place I saw her, and blah, 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 blah. And he didn't even implicate Jen Soto. He didn't implicate Jen Soto. He didn't say we. He said I. And when he said we, he was talking about him and Maddie. Who interjected herself into those conversations and said we? Was it not Jen Soto? Was it not her who said, hey, we dropped her off at school? Was it not her who said, when he said the clothing, no, she had the black shorts on? Was it not her who said that? So I want you guys to understand why I feel the way I feel about Jen. It's not because I don't like her. I'm an empathetic person. I would like very much to mourn with this mother, as we all mourn the loss of all of these beautiful souls that leave us in an untimely manner. But it's her words that bring me to this space where I feel like she was part of the problem. She led the lamb to the lion's den. And so I say all of that to segue. That's a long segue. I apologize. But to segue into these pictures. Please hit that like button, guys. Hit the like button, support the channel. Because Jen went through great lengths to try and tell us she was Mother of the Year. I said that before, and I'm saying it now again. And one of the things was Maddie was so messy. And Maddie was so disorganized. And I always had to stay on top of her to clean her room and do better. And we always got into arguments about the fact that she's a messy kid and da-da-da-da. And look at her stuff. So now let's go take a look into her world. Let's look into the room of Jen Soto. Let's see how she was living. So now they're walking into the room. Look how messy and disorganized that room is. Is that a crock on the floor? So I think the police are the ones that put the crock on the bed. And the bed has no sheets because they probably took those sheets for evidence, even though they probably should have photographed it first before they took it, or maybe they didn't. Maybe these sheets were already washed. I don't know. But these are the infamous Crocs. This Croc was noticeably smaller than these Crocs here. These Crocs appear to be Jen Soto's Crocs. These Crocs, once again, are noticeably smaller than Jen Soto's Crocs. But let's keep going. She's got a MacBook Air. Looks like a MacBook Air on the bed. Some tissue. I'll give her a pass. She might be mourning. She might be crying or something. And maybe she has a cold. She has a tissue. And, of course, she has cookies. Cookies on the bed. Let's keep going. This is her closet. Look how unorganized and dirty this closet is. The police didn't do this, by the way. These photos are taken before they execute a search warrant. You take photos before and after you do your search warrant so that the courts can see what the state of the room and the house was prior to you searching. A search warrant is very messy. You're going to be throwing things all over the place. It's just the way it goes. You're going to destroy a person's house when you do a search warrant. That's just it. That's what you expect when a search warrant happens on your property. I'm not neatly folding anything. I'm throwing everything in the drawers I'm gonna clear the bed, lift up the bed, search the bed thoroughly. I can clearly say that this bed has nothing that I'm looking for in my search warrant. After I do that, I'm then going to proceed to throw everything on the bed that I don't need. After I search it, it goes on the bed so that I know this area search, this area search, this area search. By the time the search warrant is done, your house looks like a tornado hit it. It's not because police are being mean. It's because we have received a document that suspends your constitutional right. Suspend that constitutional right to be safe within your property and unbothered and unhinged and unmolested by the government. And we have bad guys hide things. One time in one of the cases that we had where my first gun case, the person literally slit a hole in the couch, hid the gun within the frame of the couch. And if it wasn't for the eagle-eyed hard work of my partner, who is now with a different agency, what a loss. He was an amazing cop. We would have never found it. How would he find that gun? I have no idea. But that's why you have to do a thorough search. That's why those couch cushions have to be on the bed or the hallway or wherever your designated area is. Because you got to search those cushions. You got to search that couch. You got to search underneath those drawers. Because you pulling the drawer out and you think, oh, there's nothing in this drawer. They might have taped it or bolted it underneath the drawers. You got to take those drawers out of that dressing table, put that on the bed and stick your head in that hole and look around and see what's inside that dressing table, because there might be something in there that you need to find. So this is a state of her apartment, room, whatever you want to call it, prior to being searched by law enforcement. But Maddie was the problem. Maddie was the dirty teenager who couldn't keep her room clean. What room, I ask? I don't know what room, because as far as I understand, Maddie sleeps inside of the living room with some blinders that separate the living room from the kitchen. Let's keep going. So I don't know whose plushy toys these belong to, but I think this might just be probably Jen Soto, considering that a lot of this is Disney stuff, Disney casting scout. A lot of this is Disney stuff that her and Stephan Sterns would have access to, considering that they work there. I would say that I don't know much about Jen Soto's proclivities and her hobbies, but this would fall more in line with Stephan Sterns. Because Stephan Sterns is the kind of guy that likes to collect things. He's a collector. And he's not averse to collecting toys. So I could see and look like this is something that Stephan Sterns would collect, these wristbands. I could see Stephan Sterns collecting this. I could be wrong. This could be Jen's. This is Jen's room, but we also have to understand that Jen's room is not just her room. She's been with Stephan Sterns for 6-7 years, and they've been living with each other most of the time. So it's a possibility. Could be Stephan's. Now let's keep going. See if we could zoom in on some of these medications and stuff. So we got the probiotics. It's a very high resolution camera. I think we got some biotin or something back there. Some vitamins. Got some Vicks. Got some Jergens lotion. I'm not gonna lie, I like Jergens. Windshield washer fluid. Okay. I'm going to give her a little bit of a pass, just a little bit, because she's renting a room. So when people rent rooms, they tend to have junkier rooms because they got to localize all this stuff. They can't spread their stuff out throughout the house like people do when they own a house or an apartment or something like that. they kind of have to keep their stuff in a localized space because the living rooms and the kitchens are shared spaces. So when I see these plastic cups here, it's like, oh, you got plastic cups here. You're so messy. But it's like, all right, maybe if she put these plastic cups out into the kitchen, people start using it. And then, you know, her roommates are using it. And now she doesn't have any cups when she needs one. So I get that to a certain extent. When you see stuff like this, where somebody has a Christmas tree up 2 months after Christmas, this is a sign of a disorganized person. This is the side of a lazy person. The fact that she didn't take that tree down yet. It's just standing there, taking up space. You're in a room. Most of your life is localized in that room. Naturally, you're going to want to maximize the amount of space that you have. So if it's time to take that tree down, you're going to take that tree down because that frees up an entire corner in your room. Let's keep going. It's another angle. This is the other side of the bed. In the drawer. I wonder if that phone right there is a new phone that Stephan got. What is this? Philips. I don't know what that is. All right, let's keep going. It's another angle. This one's kind of like at her work desk. With some of the things on here. It's just some pins and stuff like that. She's got a few bags. She kind of likes these small bags. That's kind of her thing. They're all Disney bags. Those things are pretty expensive too. A lot of this stuff is very expensive because when you go to Disney, you know, these bags are not going to cost. These bags are going to cost $200-$300 a lot of times. These are expensive bags. Now, I'm sure she probably didn't pay that. Maybe she did. Maybe she didn't. But expensive. More cookies. Coke. Very fattening things here. But, hey, I'm not judging. Live your life how you want. It's another angle. This is called a overall. These pictures are called overall. So if you're in the crime scene world, these are overall pictures where you're getting every corner of the room. I believe the pictures are kind of out of order a little bit from the way that I downloaded them and this viewer is playing it. But you want to do the outer and then you want to do the overalls where you're getting every corner of the room so that you can get an overall picture of the room. It's not rocket science. We're using words that you'd use in the normal speak. Big shout out to everybody who's joined us today. We have over 900 people who are joining us today, and we do appreciate you guys. Please make sure that at least the majority of you guys are subscribed to the channel if you're watching us. And please do also hit that like button. Over 900 people, but we only have 462 likes. So please do support the channel and hit that like button and make sure that you're subscribed to the channel. Let's keep going. All right. So now we kind of got like a closer view of what's happening inside of this drawer. I don't know what this is here, this teal colored thing here. I don't know what that is. But it's like a junk drawer for power cords. Let's keep going. See what's happening over here. This is a Lego thing to make the Lego flowers. Kind of zoomed in here. Some plush toys. This says Dreamwear. What is that for? Under the nose nasal mask. I think this is like medicated. Is this like for snoring, like sleep apnea or something like that? I mean, if she wants to solve that sleep apnea, she just leave those cookies alone and the sleep apnea will go away as you lose weight. But I'm not shaming her. I'm just giving you a medical fact. But it looks like this might be like some sleep apnea kind of medication. And this says Puffco. So this looks like this might be some type of vape pen box. Anybody who's a vapor, let me know if I'm correct. If this Puffco thing is some type of vaping thing. Zoom out, see what else we got. Let's go to the next one. Somebody said with a $5 super chat, says, do you think the detectives made the mess or is it the state of the house? I said this before, you probably just came in. These are pictures that are taken prior to searching the home. You have to take these pictures prior to doing the search warrant. And if it was a search warrant, this place would have been toe up from the flow up. When they come and we do search warrant, everybody get out the house, search warrant, come out with your hands up. And we open that door or we break the door down, whichever it is, people are usually in the middle of things. They're in the middle of a shower, they're in the middle of cooking, they're in the middle of getting their clothes so they could go to work. We catch them off guard. So you'll see drawers open, you'll see things unkept. But before you search that house, you have to take overall pictures, and that's what that is here. They did a search warrant, they cleared the home, and they did that overall picture. Now, in this case, I believe that they had already told them you can't stay in the house. They didn't just pop up on these folks. So I believe when they told them you can't stay in the house tonight, I think they allowed them to take some clothes with them. That's my belief. I could be wrong. So the drawers could be open because maybe Jen is in there trying to grab some of her belongings so she could go have some clothes when she goes to the hotel. If that's the case, that's why maybe these drawers are open. Maybe they're just always open because she's just a slob. I don't know. But what I do know is that these are overall pictures and they have not conducted their search warrant yet. How do we know? There's still teddy bears on the shelves. You got to throw those things on the bed. You got to search those teddy bears and see if there's anything hidden in them. People do that all the time. They'll cut the bottom of the teddy. They'll cut the back of the teddy. They'll hide things in there and sew it back up. You got to press those teddies and throw them on the bed. Those teddies are still neatly stacked on those shelves. No search warrant was done in here yet. These are overalls. Good question, though, Jen Mac 2403. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Much appreciated. Do love the support that we get in here, guys. Let's keep going. In fact, let's zoom in and see what we get on this angle. When I downloaded these pictures, I had no idea that they were this detailed. I would have downloaded more pictures so we could have gone through them with a fine-tooth comb. We'll do that on a later show. That'll be part 2. Going through these pictures, zooming in. So these are Pokemon cards. We know for a fact that that belongs to Stephan Sterns or Madeline. We know for a fact. And here's another angle of these Crocs. Big shout out to Moni with a $10 super thank you. Appreciate you, Moni. Thank you right back. Appreciate you. We're trying our best to be good to YouTube so they don't demonetize this show as they always love to do on my show. The super chats definitely help if they end up demonetizing this. So I'm trying to zoom in over here. So I see she got like a LGBT bow on the tree. We saw that on another angle. Stephan's mom did say that it was her belief that Jen Soto swung both ways. The reason why I'm saying it that way is because I'm trying to respect YouTube's moderation. In no way am I trying to denigrate somebody who lives that lifestyle. I'm just trying to not upset the YouTube gods. So hopefully that's a reasonable way of saying these type of terms. I don't know why they would censor somebody talking about what who somebody's attracted to, but I don't know. I'm not taking any chances, man. YouTube is not nice to me. See if we can zoom in here. I thought I could zoom in on that medication. Let's see what we have down here. All right, let's go to the next one. Big shout out to Naomi with a $2 super sticker and Chrissy Lee with a $20 super chat. She said, I just found this channel recently and I love the details you have gone through in this case. As a child, 2 of my friends were taken by their father. So this case is very dear to my heart. Thank you, man. Wow. Well, I'm so sorry that you had to experience that trauma as a child. And I'm so sorry for those young folks who, unfortunately, if I'm reading what you said correctly, were removed from this plane much too early. by a very selfish person. Unfortunately, these people do exist. They certainly do exist. They're amongst us. They're our friends. They're our family members. They're our neighbors. They're the people who pass by you in Walmart. The only thing we could do is bring awareness that we could step in as a society and stop these folks from hurting people before they do. And if they do hurt those people, we need to have a society that can offer those victims swift justice. Swift, unadulterated justice. That's why I went from being a person who did not believe in capital punishment to a person who 100% believes in it, so long as it's done in a fair and just way. We need to put those people to bed. Let's keep going. Let's get back to these pictures. All right, so we go to the clock on the wall. Nothing remarkable there. She's got some boxes up here. Let's get a zoom in. She likes Taylor Swift. She went to the tour, apparently. She's got some puzzles up here, too, and a lot of Legos. We got some Tamagotchis. This is Stephan Sterns' favorite right here. We have multiple Tamagotchis. These 4 at least look like Tamagotchis. This 5th one might be some form of Tamagotchi, but there's at least 4 Tamagotchis here. Mallory Beaver with a $4.99 super chat says, "Hey, bots, stop demonetizing our dear strategic." We could only wish and hope. We can only dream, wish, and hope. Thank you so much for everybody who's supporting me. Let's keep going. Now, we know Stearns was big on these Nerf shooters, and so this most likely is his property here. What is this right here? It says air dry. I don't know which dries. Earth clay. It looks like there's some type of clay in there. And yes, you can see it. This clay is on top of this cardboard, and there's this residue of clay. They're probably doing some crafts and stuff like that. There's some books. This music book. It says Lundrich. Looks like von Beethoven. Lundrich Beethoven. I don't know. Love Beethoven, by the way. What does this say? Does this say Satan or Catan? I don't know. It looks like it says Catan. It looks like some type of game. I hope it doesn't say Satan. Beelzebub. Let's keep going. Big shout out to J.A. Prince with $4.99 super chat says, "Soy Boricua, but I guess I can show the Dominicans some love. Keep up the good work, Nini. What you do matters." Thank you so much, man. Thank you. I appreciate you. I don't usually identify with my Spanish side. I'm a Caribbean Saint Thomian. But yeah, I appreciate it. It is a part of me. And I do appreciate the love that you're showing me, J.A. You are amazing. Thank you so much for showing that love. Somebody says it's a board game, and it's called Catan, Settlers of Catan. It's a board game. Thank you so much, Laura LaRose, for clarifying that, because I was scared, man. I thought she was talking about the Beelzebub. I thought she had a book on Beelzebub. Mephistopheles. I can't even say it. I don't want to say it. I want no part of that stuff. Let's keep going. All right, so now we get another. So it's a lot of toys here. A lot of toys. So the question is, are these toys for Maddie? Are these toys for Stephan? Are these toys for Jen? These are weird people. These are adults that look like adults, but they aren't really adults. They don't adult. They're not big into adulting, these adults. So I don't know who's it for, to be honest with you. I have no clue, okay? Big shout out with Mindy with a $1.99 super sticker. Thank you so much. It's super sticker. Thank you so much for supporting the channel. So let's go in there and see what we got. Got the fighting game. We got some slippers. Uno, Trouble. Okay. Anything remarkable on this tree? A lot of Disney type Mickey Mouse bows, pretty much. I don't know if they had more on the tree and then they just simply took it down or in the process of taking it down. But I mean, if you had lights on this tree and then like you were taking them off, you'd probably would have taken all of these bows off first before you took the lights off. This is just a pathetic tree. So when you think about Xmas with Maddie in this house, just think about this pathetic tree that they put up to celebrate this beautiful time of year with this little princess who obviously was having a terrible time living with these folks, man. But whatever. I don't want to be too petty, but sometimes it just comes out of me. At least I'm honest with you. At least I'm honest. All right, let's keep going. Let's see what else we got. More shots of this. Now they're kind of showing in the bathroom, going out into the room because she had an ensuite bathroom, home personal bathroom. And look how messy this lady is. This is this thing kind of, I kind of laughed when I saw this picture here, and I'm going to tell you why I laughed when I saw this picture. Big shout out to everybody who's supporting the channel. Hit the like button. Am I right or am I wrong? Almost everybody has this laundry basket or have had this laundry basket. I just recently replaced it. And everybody's hand portion, the area where you pick up this laundry basket is broken. Am I right or am I wrong? I've had like 5 of those, and I finally said I'm going to cloth now. So now I have a cloth laundry basket. Every single person that I've ever seen, including myself, who's owned this laundry basket, the arm straps have broken. So I believe that they've probably gotten a gajillion complaints about this, and they've never fixed it. Why? Because it makes you go and buy more. Excellent engineering and marketing so that you can keep on buying new laundry baskets. Anyway, here's a laundry basket with some clothes in there. Let's keep going. Oh, that's it. I tell you what, I want to explore some more pictures. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get those pictures right now. I'm going to get those pictures. So give me a second. What I'll do is I'm going to go backwards for the purpose of entertainment purposes. And I'm going to play for you guys this video. Oh, so this Brave browser. I'm playing this for you guys so that I can have a second to actually get you guys these additional pictures. You won't regret it. You'll be happy that I did it for you guys. All right.
But first, courtroom closed. There have been some new motions filed in the case of Stephan Sterns. He is accused of raping and murdering 13-year-old Maddie Soto. His legal team now asking the judge to ban the public and the press from pretrial hearings in the sexual battery case. This is slated to go to trial in May. The motion filed by his attorney says that the spread of information that's going to be presented in these hearings could or would prevent a fair trial. Joining us live now via Zoom to talk about this is Belvin Perry, a former chief judge of the 9th Judicial Circuit. And Judge Perry, we appreciate you joining us this morning here on Fox 35 News Plus.
Great to be here with you today.
I first want to get your reaction to this motion, and first just kind of talk to us about, is this a common step in a case like this for an attorney to make this ask?
Yes, it's a common step, but closing a courtroom in a criminal case occurs very limitedly, and is usually involving cases where there is a potential for witness intimidation, where there is a child victim who's testifying. So in order to close this case, they must look at a very high bar, which I don't think the defense is going to be able to do this because there is an alternative to closing this courtroom.
So talk us through some of the factors here, because obviously we live in a society that has these public trials and public hearings. Courtrooms typically open. So walk us through kind of what would be considered in deciding whether or not to grant this motion.
First, there must be some substantial interest at stake. In this particular case, they're talking about pretrial publicity, that the defendant cannot receive a fair trial. They must show that closure is necessary to protect that particular interest. But there are alternatives to closing the courtroom. One is jury selection. The jury can be questioned separately as to the effect of pretrial publicity. The court can review the evidence and determine which evidence should be disclosed publicly and which evidence should not. In this particular case, just like the Case Anthony case, which had extensive pretrial publicity, you can get a jury. I doubt very seriously if the court is going to close the courtroom.
Let's talk a little bit about that. You mentioned the alternatives and kind of the alternatives to closure that would have to be considered and found inadequate. What you mentioned, kind of some of the evidence that would not be presented publicly. What would that kind of entail? What would that look like?
Let me give you a classic example. Let's say this particular case, the actual homicide was recorded on videotape and was very graphic. The court could close that publication to the news media so that they could not actually broadcast it live during the trial. They could close that to the news media at a pretrial hearing and instruct the news media not to record that. That would be the classic example. But this is just a boilerplate motion that they have filed to dot the I's and cross the T's, because you're looking at the First and Sixth Amendment to the Constitution, which guarantees the press access and the public access to the trial. And doing this would basically start what I call a star chamber proceeding.
What do you mean by that?
Star chamber proceeding is when there's no public, there's no one there but the defendant and the attorneys. There was a movie called The Star Chamber where people decided people were guilty, and then they went out on their own and executed punishment.
And why is, you mentioned the Constitution, the amendments to the Constitution, and kind of the role that plays in keeping these courtrooms open. Why is that such an important thing to have courtrooms open to the public and to the press?
Because when you look at the old history coming from England, there were court proceedings that were closed. This relates to the integrity of the system. You cannot have a system that is closed because people will question the fairness. That's why the courts are open, so that eye of the public and the media will be there to make sure that justice is actually followed and not some starry concept that's done in the behind closed doors.
At the same time, this is a case that has gotten a lot of attention. What do you think the search for a jury will look like when this case does go to trial, and kind of the difficulties and the process there for finding an impartial jury?
The court will at first try to see the jury in Osceola County unless both the state and the defense agree that it needs to be moved.
All right, so thanks for your patience, guys. Just a few more seconds, because I'm actually getting the pictures from Maddie's space now. I don't call it her bedroom because it's not a proper bedroom, and it's shameful that she had to sleep out there. But especially when there was a free room upstairs, bedroom number 4, instead of letting her abuser to be up there, she could have removed this guy from the home and moved on with her life and allow her daughter to live up there. But anyway, or stay up there rather. But I'm getting those pictures right now. So I'm getting a few other pictures that I didn't get before. And now I'm getting those pictures. It's going to be very probative, so I appreciate your patience, guys. Just keep listening to this interview. It's interesting stuff while I get this together. Let's keep going.
The court has the alternative, just like I did in the Case Anthony case, of going to another location and pick a jury and bring that jury back to Osceola County and let that jury hear the case. The question is not whether or not someone has heard pre-trial publicity, is whether or not they have formed an opinion about the guilt of the defendant and whether or not they could set aside that opinion. If they say they can set aside whatever opinion that they have formed in this case, then they are qualified to serve on that particular jury.
I would imagine a motion like this was filed in the Casey Anthony case. Can you kind of walk us through, if you remember, what your thinking was like in seeing that and responding to it?
Well, number one, they did not file a motion to close the courtroom at all. What they did was file a motion for change of venue, and due to the nature, that motion was granted because of the extensive pretrial publicity, which caused us to go to Pinellas County to select a jury, which took us 2 weeks to do, and to bring that jury back to Orange County for the trial of the case.
What, I know you said this is kind of just a boilerplate motion, something that the defense, it seems, is just kind of doing to make sure they do everything they can. It certainly doesn't sound like it's something that you expect to happen. But what sort of situations would we see something like this be granted?
All right. So there's a lot of photos, and more I look, it's like, oh my God, I want to cover this too. It doesn't make sense for me to to cover all of those pictures. We'll be here for the next 4 hours. So I got a lot of stuff. Whatever. So basically I got it from Plunder, guys. So, you could definitely go to Plunder and you'll be able to get access. Oh, what happened? Lord of mercy. Oh my gosh. I deleted my live tab. So I'm looking like, where's the live? What's happening here? I can't see anything. So if you send me a super chat, I didn't see it. We have well over 1,000 people watching right now. It's loading up right now. So I apologize for that. I see there's a massive super chat. I'm going to go in here and make sure that I say thank you to you guys. But I did not have it up. It was literally closed. So let me go here and make sure I say thank you to everybody. So David with a massive super chat. Oh my God. Let's go. We got to do something. We got to say, one more time. Wow, David, with a $99 super chat, man. You are awesome, bro. I appreciate you. That was awesome. You're a saint, bro. Man, that was really awesome, bro. He says, hate to run, but it's time to snooze. Have a great day and be nice to others, man. Great advice. Appreciate you immensely for being so generous with the show. That was very kind of you. Man, that's cool. That's so cool, and that helps out the show a lot, and we do appreciate it. Please do hit that like button, support the channel, guys. Hopefully this will be a monetized live. We got a lot of people watching, a lot of people taking time out of their day to show support to True Crime with Strategic. It's one of our big crowds. We don't get crowds like this all the time, but when we do get it, we're always humbled and appreciated to receive it, because we're not entitled to your time. We're not entitled to your time. We're happy that you're giving us your time. This show is nothing without viewers like you. Who used to say that? LeVar Burton, Butterfly in the Sky, Reading Rainbow. So like I said, man, you guys are appreciated, and your generosity is appreciated as well. David has been with the show for a very long time. So let me set this back up so we get back into these pictures. You know what? This is what I'm going to do. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I got to use the restroom real quick. I'm going to let this play for just 2 seconds. I'm a guy. It doesn't take me long. I'll be back in less than 2 minutes, and then we're gonna jump into this. I don't want to be thinking about going pee-pee while I'm going through these photos, guys. All right? Let's definitely get this show on the road. Hold on.
Granted.
As I said before, if there was a closing the courtroom, if there was a child victim of a sexual battery, you could close the courtroom then. If you are talking about sensitive information like national security, you can close a courtroom. If you having a confidential informant, you could close a courtroom. Those are the limited situations where you could have a courtroom closed to the public and to the media.
A pretty high bar, though, it sounds like, from what you're saying, for something like this to be granted.
It's an extremely high bar. But the defense must do this, because if they don't, you can believe that if this defendant is convicted, his lawyers on appeal will raise this and say that his counsel was incompetent for not filing this particular motion. So it's one of those things that they must file to perfect the record, to show that they did everything that was possible to make sure he had a fair trial.
All right, Belvin Perry, the former chief judge for the Ninth Judicial Circuit. Always appreciate you joining us here. You're a wealth of knowledge, and we appreciate your expertise. And thanks for joining us this morning here on Fox 35 News Plus.
Thank you.
It is 4 o'clock. That means it's time for today's Top 4 at 4, where we break down 4 of the big stories that we are tracking inside the Fox 35 newsroom this afternoon. And joining us live now is Fox 35 News anchor Luann Sorrell. And Luann, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you. Great to be here.
So let's start with this plane crash in Canada. Another briefing this afternoon, but it just never gets any less wild seeing the images of that plane upside down on the runway.
That sucks. Sorry about that, guys. All right, I'm back now. Let me go ahead and put me back on the screen. Appreciate you guys. Just had to do a quick bathroom break, get something to drink. My favorite iced tea, no sugar. Sugar is the enemy. You don't want to drink sugar. Sugar is the enemy, ladies and gentlemen. You should drink sugar so infrequently that when you finally taste something sweet, it tastes like heaven. Like sometimes when I eat something sweet, it's almost like I'm taking a drug, because it's like, wow, it's amazing, because my body's not used to taking in sugar. So anyway, big shout out to last person before we get back in. Well, not last person, but just giving shout out to this person real quick before we jump back into the pictures. Gorgeous George with a $10 super chat says, starting from the beginning, but thankful to be here. Can't wait to hear this. Thank you. We can't wait to have you. All right, let's get back into this bad boy and bring the picture back to me. And let's get back into these photos, man. These photos are crazy, guys. All right. All right, so where we leave off on these photos, let's get started over here. Perfect. All right, man. Let's get it back over to you guys. Great. All right. So this is a thing. Like, as I'm watching, like, I'm getting confused because it looked like they photographed the entire house, which is what you have to do when you probably have a search warrant on the scope that they have, the search warrant. So, there's some rooms that I just don't know what room that is, but you could clearly see that it's rooms that probably belong to the roommates, right? So I want to kind of go through. I think this is a roommate's room. Look how different this room looks compared to Jen Soto's room. Looks like an adult's room, right? Clean, organized, mature things there. She's got a bottle of wine in the corner. Look at that. Some Moscato, the cheap stuff. I'm just joking. I don't know if it's cheap stuff or not. But she's got the Moscato, she's got the body lotions, the feminine body lotions. Jen Soto's got some Jergens lotion, right? She's got the Jergens lotion. This lady's got the scented Victoria's Secret Bath and Body Works stuff, right? Over here, she's got her makeup up there. She got some jewelry, probably some costume jewelry since it's in a little bin like that. She's got her makeup mirror, a plant in the corner, a mug. It looks like the room of a woman, right? If I am dating a woman and she's renting a room, shit happens, right? I'm not going to judge her. And I go into her room like this, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. It's a woman's room. If I was to go to Jen Soto's room, if I meet Jen Soto at the bar and she's like, hey, come on back to my house, let's have a conversation, which I wouldn't go. But anyway, we're using our imagination. And I'm like, what is this? This lady's a slob. This is dirty. Like, what's all these toys? What's all this mess? What's happening here? Do I really want to get involved with somebody like this? If a room looks like this, I wonder what else looks like that when the clothes come off. But anyway, let's keep going. So, big difference between the roommates' rooms and Jen Soto's rooms. I'm being a very bad boy. I apologize. Okay, let me stop being naughty and petty. Okay, but you guys know how I feel about these people because they failed Maddie, and because they failed Maddie, they piss me off. They definitely do. Let's keep going. All right, so these are different angles. I don't know what's going on here. I think this is a different room, but I don't know what room that is. So I was kind of like, I skipped past it or whatever. So now this is another angle of Jen's room. And the reason why I wanted to add this to the bundle, because we didn't see this already, this is going to start showing us what the closet looks like. But see here, this is for the cat, the cat. I think she has some cats and some dogs. And it's a little dark. Could have worked on the lighting a little bit. Did I skip something? Nope. So this is the vantage point from this side of the bed. We didn't see that. We saw the other side previous to this one. So let's see what's happening on this side. It's like a lot of cards in there, like greeting cards and stuff, some wallets. This looks like it's a wireless charger she has here. Lilo and Stitch. True. This is some skin medication. I think her name is probably on the top of this. Yeah, this is I don't know. Might be like some cream, some topical cream of some sort. Your future looks magical. Some more cookies. She loves her cookies. A dirty table that hasn't been wiped down in 1,000 years. I don't know if that's crumbs or roach droppings. I have no idea. Now, this is interesting. I think we saw this before. Somebody made mention of this note, but I wish we had a better angle on this note. I'm not sure if they actually documented that note. But let's keep going. What's this over here in the corner? What's this? Not enough to see. All right, let's go to the next one. So they documented her computer. Oh, man, I wish they had took a picture of that note. Same difference up here. We got this bag. Let's see what's happening on this little board she has here. Miss something. Okay. They redacted that stuff. Interesting stuff here. Well, let's keep going. All right. So this. So I guess that was like the bottom drawer. Yeah. Or I don't know. It looks like it's the top drawer, unless they like remove some things. I don't know, but it looks like it's the same drawer. But wait, let me see here. Go back here. Let me look for that. Oh, it's the same drawer because the silver thing is here, but it appeared that they kind of like moved these cards, and then we get to see like on the bottom of it, and there's like cell phone charges. This is a hard drive, portable hard drive. They ended up documenting this separately and probably took it as evidence. I'm pretty sure the scope of that search warrant was all electronics. I just did a search warrant a week and a half ago, and we had all electronics. We took everything. We took video surveillance, picked cameras, everything. And I'm not talking about any specific case, because most search warrants with this scope, they'll tell you take all electronics. So I'm not specifically giving you any insight into any particular case. This is something that's common practice. So let's keep going. So that's the Western Digital, it's a 2.5 sized portable hard drive. I don't know if that's going to be a SSD or if that's going to be a SATA hard drive. I'm not sure. Considering we was in 2024, that's probably a solid state drive. So, but there's possible that there would have been something on here. If there was something on there, though, we would have heard it already. So I don't think that there was any C material on here, considering that since it was found in Jen's room, they could try and make a case that she in some way had knowledge of it and was possessing it. Of course, it'd be difficult because Stephan Sterns kind of stayed there too, but on the flip side, she did say that Stephan Sterns, that they broke up and they moved out in December. That was what she said. So if you broke out and moved out in December, then effectively that's your hard drive. But, let's keep going. Till her attorney argued against it. Nothing is definite in court of law. So this is a messy closet because Maddie was so disorganized and so messy that mommy had to always have arguments with her because she would never clean up a room. And, I'm mom of the year and I just want my daughter to be, to grow up and be organized and all that good stuff. But whenever she comes in mom's room, this is what she sees. So mom of the year is not really being a good role model for the daughter that she's constantly berating for being messy. That's her dirty closet. Let's keep going. It's another angle of the dirty closet. And some of these bags that were on the wall. Let's see what's happening in the closet. Well, we know now. Hold on. USA, that's 9.5. So Jen wears a 9.5 shoe. She got some Anne Klein in here, some New Balance. Which New Balances are these? Because the New Balances are expensive. My daughter said, Dad, I want some New Balances for my birthday. I was like, oh, shoot. Yes. Because when I was growing up, New Balances wasn't in style. If you didn't have no Nikes, you was going to get, teased and stuff. So I said, yeah, send me the New Balances you want. $150. $150 for New Balances, and then I pick her up from school and all these kids got the New Balances. Oh, they must have stepped their game up or something. Like these New Balances cost just as much as Jordans. $150. I had to come out the pocket, man. I put that on the credit card. Jeez, $150 for some New Balances. Anyway, let's keep going. More overalls of the messy. These are inner. She got the JanSport bag. Looks like some type of cover. Like a little pulley thing. A cart. That's it. Nothing much going on here, at least that you can see. What kind of shoebox is this? She got the red bottoms. She got the Blonics. These is red bottoms. These blood shoes. I didn't know you get down like that. Jenny from the block. Let's keep going. She got another computer that they found. It's a HP. See if we get in this corner and see what's going on here. Got a little storage rack. Looks like it's mostly covers and towels. Sheets and towels. That looks like a robe. Up there looks like some type of Disney box. She got an igloo cooler up there. Man, fair enough. Let's keep going. And this is something I wanted to address. The infamous tripod. Looks like the tripod came from Jen's room. Unless there's multiple tripods, I could be wrong. It looks like the tripod came from Jen's room. It doesn't look like the tripod came from room number 4. And that's the tripod right there. But I could be wrong. We're exploring this together. Could the tripod have been used for nefarious purposes? It's possible. Could it just been a tripod that they own? Nobody will ever know. The only time we'll ever know is during the trial if we see that the prosecution is basically arguing that basically he was using a tripod to document these crimes against his victim. There's no way of telling whether this tripod has like a larger meaning or not. There's really no way. I just don't know. I can't say definitively. We can certainly speculate. Now we're getting into Maddie's makeshift bedroom. Before we get in there, big shout out to everybody who's watching us right now. We have over 1,000 people watching this live. People have been very generous with the show, and we appreciate that. And any help, we could definitely help because we get demonetized like crazy. We have 5 new members, and Tori just celebrated her 3-month membership. Said Jen should have used all her free time to watch Clean With Me videos instead of sleeping all the damn time. My anxiety is high seeing that mess. Wow, it is very disorganized and it's very shameful. And Paula with a $5 super chat says, I know successful attorneys who use cannabis. They love their children and do not expose them to it. Jen Soto is sick in the head and her heart soulless. Yeah, man, you know, the cannabis is not going to make people do the things that Jen has done as far as being a negligent parent, in my opinion. You know, these are choices that people made that they just have to be held accountable for in a court of law, if need be. And that's just it. That's it. So please hit that like button. A lot of new members and a lot of people who are supporting the channel. We appreciate you, and a lot of people watching the channel. For everybody who's just joining us for the first time, make sure you hit that subscribe button. So many times people pop up on the channel and they forget to hit the subscribe button and they never become truly a part of that family and get notified. I've actually myself made the mistake that I constantly are watching a show and the YouTube algorithm is feeding me that show. And I didn't even realize I never subscribed to it. I was watching that show on a regular, catching all of their new shows. And YouTube saw that I was watching that show, so they kept sending me that show's links. And I realized I never actually subscribed to that channel. And of course, I fixed it because that channel deserved my subscribership. But that might be happening to you. So make sure that you hit that subscribe button and you become a part of the family. Miss Lively 420 is now a member of Patrol, and we appreciate you for supporting the channel in the way that you're supporting us. You are amazing. All right, so let's get into Maddie's room, man. Sad stuff. Let's get into this. So this is the outer. Remember, we do the perimeter. Crime scene technicians do the perimeter pictures first. This is a perimeter picture. It's a little weird, though, because her bedroom isn't really a bedroom. So they're going to start that perimeter at the mouth of those, what do they call those, dividers. Very sad stuff. This child should not have been living like that, but it is what it is. So let's go in. Let's zoom in. Let's see what we got here. So a little cute little teddy bear. She got her books and stuff like that. What is this? What's a banshee rookery? Somebody look that up and tell me what a banshee rookery is. I'm interested. All right. Let's go to the next one. So we see that she has some binders, a small little twin-sized bed. I don't even know if that qualifies as a twin-sized bed. That might even be smaller than a twin, like maybe a junior-sized bed, like type of bed you have for a little kid. I know space is an issue. Banshee Rookery is at Disney Animal Kingdom. Got you. So it's a ride. It's a character. Thank you. I appreciate you. But this is a tiny bed, guys. This is tiny. This doesn't even look like a twin size. Does it look like a twin to you, or like one of those junior beds that you'd buy a toddler? It's a very, very small bed. Very small bed. I know she wasn't the biggest girl, but, you know, when you're a big girl, you deserve a big bed. And she was 13, man. She deserved a bigger bed. So anyway, here's a little computer she had here in the corner. She's got a Pringles. She's got a black dresser. Let's explore into this. Of course, they blacked out the pictures. Got some Febreze, some characters. Let's keep going. Big shout out to Melanie Leach, who's a new member on the recruit level. Dubatown, who's celebrating 4 months as a recruit. Thank you. Down here, she's got, what is it, Jenga? Got a little Jenga. It's got some type of towelette or something like that, a little rag or something that's like hanging on this divider. Picture looking at the ground. Some type of clothy materials. We got clothing. I don't know if the clothing was thrown out there by crime scene or if it was there prior to them arriving on the scene. Let's keep going. Got a picture of the entire dressing table. Looks like some drawers were opened up. Up here, she's got some lollipops. Febreze is kind of weird. You don't really see kids with Febreze in their room. Let's keep going. So a whole bunch of rags and towels in this drawer. Why would this child have, basically, these are like shop towels or very cheap wash rags. But why would she have so many in that drawer? Like almost like it was like a some type of linen closet or something. Doesn't make any sense, but let's keep going. Just a small amount of stuff in her drawer. Clothes unfolded. Typical teenager, at least. We try and teach them to be more responsible, but hey, kids have got to find their way, right? More clothing. Anything probative happening up here? I think the lighting is really bad in this area, so the quality has been diminished significantly. Looks like a robe. That's a very small bed, guys. Look how tiny that bed is. It's tiny. It looks like a toddler's room. She's got some clothes on the bed. Her Pikachu and her Grinch. You know what? I could do better than this. I know what I did wrong here. Some of these things I saved in low quality. And specifically, this one, I want to, let me see. Oh, I thought I'd be able to read this one. Nah. That sucks. You know what? Let me check my phone real quick and see if I can get it a different way. I want to see if I can read that list over there. I want to read that list. I want to see what that list says. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. We're doing an investigation together, guys. Bear with me. Bear with me. I'm not trying to waste your time. I'm trying to get to the bottom of this. I'm trying to give you probative information. I'm trying to explore this case with you. It's towards the end here. Is this it? It's coming up. It's coming up. It's coming up. It's coming up. Come on. So many pictures. Back here. Here we go. That's the one I'm looking for. Oh, I did all of that. Still can't read it. It's all good. We tried. Ooh. I want to drop that phone. We tried. So we don't know what's being said on that picture there, but we'll keep going. Let's keep going. I think that's it. Oh, that's all we got. That's all we got. All right, I'll leave it there, guys. There's so much more to explore as far as the pictures go. We could definitely revisit that on another show. You guys are amazing. I want to definitely take this last moment to just take just a few telephone calls, and then we'll get out of here. It's been an hour and 43 minutes. We definitely gave you guys a great show, a very long show. We definitely could stick around for another 15 to 20 minutes, making a nice 2-hour show. And I think for us to do that, we're going to open up the lines to you beautiful people and hear what you have to say. And bring this over here. Wow. You guys, I got to say, this was certainly very interesting show. The highlight of the show for me is the lie that Sterns was caught in. That was huge. I want to hear from you, though. I want to hear from you beautiful people. So the phone lines are open, 518-639-6283. That's 518-639-6283. I'd love to hear from you. We could talk about anything. Of course, the topic on at hand is always going to be the preferable thing for us to talk about, but I give you no limits on what you can ask and what we can talk about. So please do consider calling True Crime with Strategic. We do have rules on this channel. Make sure that you are respectful, and let's get to it. What's up, caller? Welcome to True Crime with Strategic. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hi, Strategic. It's my name is Paris. I'm PR on YouTube, and I'm from South Florida.
Awesome.
Okay, so today, I don't know if you've seen it. This is the first I've heard about it.
Okay.
But today's the first day I've seen it. The pictures that Maddie drew in her notebook. Have you seen those?
I do have those pictures. I have posted the pictures on my Patreon only because it's widely being disseminated. But I will not report on those pictures. Well, I'll talk about the pictures, but I will not show the pictures on this main show. And when I saw those pictures, what I saw was an outcry. I saw somebody reaching out for help. Unfortunately, nobody noticed it.
I needed to hear someone's thoughts because I gasped. I could not. She must have drawn that when she was 12. She wasn't even a teenager.
Right.
And that can't be normal, right? Like, I don't think that's developmentally appropriate at all. I don't even think I would have drawn that in high school.
It's not appropriate for anybody under, I would say 16. It's not appropriate, period. I mean, listen, when I was a young kid, I was a horn dog. I didn't even draw no pictures like that. You know,
I didn't even know what that looked like.
I wasn't even. I never. You can't go in my archives, and of course, if you could find it, you couldn't blame me. I was a kid. You couldn't go in my archives and find something like that. You know, that is unhealthy, and especially for her age. We keep calling her 13, and yes, factually she was 13, but that child died a week after being 13.
Exactly.
You know, so that, like you said, that was most likely done when she was 12 or 11 or 10 or 9 or 8. And the most disturbing thing about that picture, PR, is that she literally drew Stephan Sterns.
Yeah.
Look at the droopy body.
It's horrifying.
She drew him.
It's horrifying.
Yeah, it is. It's very, 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 very sad. And if somebody saw that picture, they should have asked questions, man, especially if it was her mother. And I don't know, man. It's like, how are all these pieces of evidence sticking around and nobody's figuring it out? What else you got for me, PR?
That's it. I mean, and then I'm just thinking about, was she drawing that in class? How could no one have seen it? Like, there must, I'm in shock. I'm in shock.
It's a good question.
I feel terrible.
It's a very, 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 very good question.
Kids must have been laughing if they had seen. I don't know.
I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem we have with this case, as far as getting to the bottom of who knew and who did not know, the problem that we have is that Florida has a law where if a mandated reporter does not properly report this type of abuse, they can face felony charges and face criminal prosecution. So those folks aren't in a position, like, because I like to believe that these are good people who just made mistakes. If they made mistakes, they're not in a position where they can say, man, I screwed up and this is what we could learn from my mistakes, and and I'm sorry. They can't do that. If they do that, they're going to get criminally charged. So they have to keep covering it up. They have to say, oh, no, she never told me that, or I never saw that. Because if they admit to seeing certain things, their goose is cooked. So I think it's one of those situations where we'll never know what people truly knew. Because if any of those teachers saw that picture, or therapists or school counselors or whoever saw that picture and didn't report it, they have to keep that secret to the grave. Otherwise, they will possibly get criminally charged.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what's shocking. I work with children. I help at-risk kids, like very small. If I would have seen anything like that, I can't imagine not bringing it up. Which is, and so this is just, this case is just, with each passing day, I'm just angrier and angrier. Right. I'm in shock, honestly.
I am too, and it's very sad, and hopefully this little girl will get the justice that she deserves, and we'll see what happens, man. Thank you so much for calling.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
All right, great call. Great call. Great points, man. Wow, I mean, oh boy. It never ceases to amaze me, the amount of mistakes that were made in this case. Never ceases to amaze me. Looking for another caller. Please call in. The lines are open. Big shout out to everybody who decides to call in. It's very kind of you to share your time with True Crime Strategic. I think I just seen somebody who became a member or something. Let me go ahead and make sure I give them a shout out. First of all, big shout out to Tori with a $2 super chat. Thank you so much. She says, the whiteboard has a list of her night chores. Okay, cool. Thank you for letting me know that. I appreciate that. Also, Chatterbox Talks a Lot has now joined our recruit level. Thank you so much for becoming a member on the recruit level. Miss Lively is a patrol member. I think we shouted her out before. Melanie Leach is a recruit, new recruit. Thank you so much. And Debbie Town is a 4-month member. So we appreciate everybody who's showing us love and supporting this channel. You guys are amazing. Do we have any other calls? If we don't have any other calls, we'll call it a day. But I'd love to hear from you guys. So please don't be shy. Call on in. You know, nobody will know your phone number. It's quite okay. It's all right. It's safe. But we want to hear from you. We want the audience to be engaged. We want you to be a part of the discussion. We are exploring this case together. We're exploring this case together. Big shout out to the research crew with their constant artwork. I find it very entertaining and funny. I think some of you guys do too as well. So whenever they send me something that I find is interesting and appropriate, I definitely always post it. So right behind me is Strategic Justice is about to go down, and we have her as the queen in the whole Mad Hatter thing. They also made another one with Stephan Sterns, but it's for a video that we did that we were going to do that we never got to. I'll show it to you guys. In fact, I'm not going to show that to you guys. That one's kind of interesting too. This one right here. So this one was going to be for a video where Stephan Sterns wants all the tea. So that's Stephan Sterns as the Mad Hatter. I think that's interesting. And, you know, I love artistic people. I love artistic people. All right, guys, if nobody decides to call in, we will end the show. Here we go. All right. Hey, what's going on, caller? Welcome to True Crime and Strategic. What's your name and where you calling from?
Hey, my name is Maddie. I'm calling from Kissimmee.
All right. Well, here, a local. I love to hear from locals in Kissimmee. Thank you so much for calling the show. What do you got for me?
I don't know if anybody has like caught on to this, but the fact that like Jennifer Soto went that day, like she said, like any normal day to go pick up her child from school, and be like, you know, waited for her to come out and she never came out.
Right.
As a parent, the panic that would set in for me at that point,
right,
like I wouldn't have left from that school. I would have been like, you need to have the principal come out and talk to me. Let me know if my child's been attending school that whole day. You need to like have a resource officer come right here. The fact that she left school and didn't like make it a big show and then went to like her mom's office and whatever, like, and then reached out to the teacher, I find that extremely weird as a parent.
Right.
I'm like, there's no way.
Right. We actually covered that on this show. And an issue that I had was because I don't trust Jen Soto, I did not believe that she actually went there. And so we dived a little deeper and more information came out. And allegedly, the police tried to obtain video surveillance footage from the school, and the footage wasn't working. It was extremely grainy, and it wasn't working. It was very convenient especially for Jen Soto. Then some people claimed, I never got verification of this, but some people who I guess feel like they know more about the topic than others stated that they did cell tower location and that it was proven that she was there. But I've never seen that cell tower data that prove that she was pinging off those towers. And the funny thing is that this is a small community. Those towers that doesn't, just because she's pinging off a tower that's near the school
She could
doesn't
be
mean
at
she
the
was
Publix, right? Like
she wasn't
across
at the school.
street. Like it doesn't
Exactly.
mean that she was at that school.
Exactly.
Because like why? Because like my child attends a private school in Kissimmee, and like if I pull up to the school and my child has not been brought out, somebody from the school is going to come talk to me like, hey, are you sure they've been dropped off? Like,
Right.
they're going to check all their Q's and dot their I's because they're very thorough here. You know what
Right,
I mean? Like,
right.
especially at the schools.
And it's
so I'm
never-
like, how did you go there?
It's not going to
And
set right on
no alert.
for her to just be like, you know what? I don't want to block the line. I'm just going to go drive around looking for my daughter. That's crazy. You know for a fact that there's a place where the child was supposed to be. The place she was supposed to be is a school. So you, as a responsible parent, you're going to exhaust all avenues at that school before you go into the unknown. You don't know where she's at on the street. You don't know where her location. That's the unknown. So before you go to the
Especially
unknown,
when she was saying that it was the first time that Stephan had ever dropped her off to school, dropped her off to school. I'm like, so you didn't talk to him and be like, hey, where did you drop her off at?
Right.
Oh, not at the school, at somewhere different. Like, that's where I would have been my red flag, like something's wrong. Like, why did you drop not my child off there? Like, I don't know. Everything she did is just not how a normal parent would act. I feel like, I don't know.
Right. I mean, it is what it is, man. The whole story is cockamamie. You know, oh, he has an older car. He wasn't driving his whole beat up Honda. He was driving his parents' car. Was it a great car? Not exactly, but it was a luxury car and a late model luxury car. And it was probably more well appointed than her bullcrap entry level Nissan Sentra. No disrespect to anybody who's driving that.
Saying.
So, you know, like it's not like he was in a jalopy, you know. So the whole she was embarrassed of the car and all that stuff. He never drove this child
like that's
before.
Victim blaming, you know, that's victim blaming. Like you're just trying to say, oh, she was like, uppity and she didn't want to be seen in my car. Like, no, that was you kind of just victim blame.
Right.
And after you already like
uppity child.
That girl.
Who's surviving off her mother's disability checks, living in a makeshift living room bedroom. That child is not being raised uppity. That child is surviving.
The fact that she didn't even have her own bedroom and Stephan Sterns had a bedroom is beyond me.
Absolutely.
Like, I'm like, and as a grandfather, you would have been like, no, give that room to my grandchild. You know, like, I'm like, how did nobody like just... That's a growing girl. She needed her privacy. Everything about that whole like setup is just, I know it's wrong. She needs to get charged.
I don't know, man. I hope, but I think you guys know how I feel about that. I just don't feel they have the will. But I appreciate you calling, man. Thank you so much for supporting the channel, and I hope things settle down out there and you guys get justice out in that region so that all of us could stop flashing the spotlight on your community.
No, for sure. Thank you for the great work that you do. I appreciate you.
All right. You have a great day.
You too.
All right. Great caller. Great points, man. Definitely. Like, what kind of parent would leave a place that they know that their child was, or at least they thought their child would be, without getting that definitive proof and evidence that the child is not there? She's out there during dismissal. Who's outside during dismissals? This is like stuff that every school follows, whether you're in the inner city or you're in a rural community or you're just in like the suburbs area, like where this area is. Every single school, it's all hands on deck when it comes to dismissal. There's buses that need to be coordinated. You got the principal out there, the vice principal out there, the deans out there, the social workers and the psychologists out there, the teachers who aren't grading papers and it's their turn are out there. You have tons of staff outside coordinating children getting on these school buses or getting in their parents' cars safely. She could have gotten out her car and start talking to people. Say, where's my child? My child is missing. She has not come out yet. I need answers. You know what that school would have did? They'd have walked her into the school and give her the answers that she needed. But no, Jen Soto says, oh, you know, I don't want to block up the cars. We did a Google search on that, a Google Earth, and there are 2 lanes. There's multiple lanes going around that school. She wasn't blocking anybody. She could have easily either stayed where she was parked in the roundabout where people drive in to get their kids, or she could have driven to the back of the school, park in the back of the school, got out of her car, and walked to the front of the school and start speaking to the principal or the vice principal or the deans or the whoever's there and get some answers on her daughter. She didn't do that. She decided to leave the school where her daughter was supposed to be and go to the unknown. Drive around aimlessly looking for a child. And then calling her mother up and saying, hey, is my child there? No, she's not there, but she still went to the office though. What sense that made? Didn't make sense at all, ladies and gentlemen. So it's a really good point that the caller made on Jen Soto's actions. And then conveniently, the cameras don't work. Conveniently, the cameras don't work. Conveniently, when they do work, they're blurry. Remarkable. Also conveniently, Jen Soto worked at that school as a substitute teacher multiple times. Could it be possible that she could have known somebody or an incident could have occurred which she'd have to have either seen the cameras or had dealings with those cameras to know that those cameras aren't very good and would not be able to discount the fact that she said she went to that school. I still don't believe Jen Soto went to that school. I think it's a convenient alibi. Now, did she probably go to school? Probably she did. But I don't believe it. And I don't believe it for one reason. Not that it's unreasonable that Jen would have went to that school. It's very reasonable. It's very rational. It's very probable. Very plausible. But I don't believe it because I don't trust Jen Soto. And the reason why I don't trust Jen Soto is because Jen Soto have told me not to trust her from her words, from her deceit, her misstatements, her lies to police throughout this investigation. Lies that were so prominent that her own attorney had to make sure that those lies were addressed during her derivative use immunity interview with Jay Williams. She had to make sure that Jay Williams went on the record and said that those previous lies were dirt under the bridge. His words, not mine. Dirt under the bridge. All right, guys, I'm going to close up the calls, man. I appreciate those two people who called in. You guys were amazing, brave souls, and I hope you don't regret speaking to True Crime with Strategic. I want to go ahead and wrap this show up, guys. We're at 2 hours and 2 minutes. I think I gave you guys a long enough show. Please consider becoming a member of True Crime with Strategic. We give you guys tons of content for the value that you pay for the membership. And the Patreon is even better. So if you're smart, you get the membership and the Patreon because you'll get two different bites at the apple because I give exclusive content on the Patreon that I don't put on the membership. Being on the membership is just as special. So please consider supporting us because we constantly get demonetized by YouTube, guys. And guess what, man? I don't want to say it. I don't want to sound funny, but this takes a lot of time and energy out of my life. I'm going to go to work till 2 in the morning. That's when I get off. I'm supposed to get off. But most of the time I get a case late night and I have to stay later. Instead of sleeping right now, instead of handling business, I'm supposed to go to the DMV and get the real ID. I can't do that anymore because I don't have time. I was here with you right now. So it's nice to get compensated for your time. And unfortunately, YouTube keeps demonetizing the show, so we rely on your support to get us through. So guys, I love you immensely. I'll see you guys on the next one. You guys are great. Strategic is out of here. I didn't even cue up the outro. Let me cue up the outro before I say peace, all right? Come on, man. Strategic is out of here. Peace.